They told me, save money on yourself. You're too old. So, I stopped paying their bills and watched their shocked faces. I'm glad you're here with me. Please like this video and listen to my story till the end and let me know which city you're listening from. That way, I can see how far my story has traveled. For 30 years, I worked as a nurse at St. Mary's Hospital in Ohio. I raised my son Marcus as a single mother after my husband died when Marcus was only 7. Every extra shift, every holiday worked, every sacrifice, it was all for him. When I retired at 60, I thought I'd finally earn some peace. My pension wasn't enormous, but it was comfortable. I had my small house, my garden, my book club on Thursdays. Marcus married Vanessa 6 years ago. She seemed sweet at first, organized, articulate, always dressed impeccably. They lived 40 minutes away in a newer development, the kind with identical beige houses and HOA rules about lawn heights. Within a year of their marriage, they started asking for help. Just temporarily, Mom. Marcus would say, first it was their mortgage payment when Vanessa lost her marketing job. Then car insurance, then groceries, then credit card minimums. I paid. What else would a mother do? But somewhere along the way, temporarily became permanent. The requests grew more frequent, more entitled. They stopped asking and started informing me what bills needed paying. Vanessa would text me screenshots of statements with the due dates highlighted. No please, no thank you, just expectations. Last month, I started noticing changes in how they treated me. During Sunday dinners at their house, Vanessa would talk over me mid-sentence, dismissing my opinions with a wave of her manicured hand. That's outdated thinking, Dorothy, she'd say with that condescending smile. Marcus would nod along, not defending his own mother. Then came the comments about my appearance. Mom, are you still wearing that cardigan? It's so 2010, Vanessa remarked one evening, her voice dripping with pity. You really should update your wardrobe. I looked down at my comfortable wool cardigan, the one Marcus gave me for Christmas 5 years ago, and felt something tighten in my chest. The shift became undeniable 3 weeks ago. I was at their house helping Vanessa prepare dinner while Marcus watched football. I just paid their electric bill that morning, $340, which seemed excessive for a 2-bedroom house. As I chopped vegetables, Vanessa's phone buzzed on the counter. I glanced over accidentally and saw a notification from a luxury spa. Your monthly membership payment of $450 is due. Monthly $450? I said nothing, but I started paying attention. Their kitchen renovation that was supposedly mostly done by Marcus's friend as a favor. Professional work easily $30,000. The new SUV in the driveway. Vanessa's with temporary dealer plates still on it. Marcus's golf club membership at the exclusive Riverside Country Club where the initiation fee alone was $15,000 while I paid their electric bill. The moment that changed everything happened last Tuesday. I'd driven over to drop off a check for their internet and phone bill, another $220. I let myself in with the key they'd given me for emergencies. They were in the kitchen, discussing vacation plans. Turks and Caicos for 10 days, Vanessa was saying, showing Marcus something on her iPad. All-inclusive 4-star resort. It's only $9,000 if we book now. My mouth went dry. $9,000 for vacation while I wrote them checks for basic utilities. Marcus noticed me standing in the doorway. His face reddened slightly. Oh, hey Mom. We didn't hear you come in. I held out the check. Your phone bill. Vanessa took it without looking up from her iPad. Thanks. By the way, Dorothy, we need $400 for the HOA fee by Friday. They're threatening penalties. Something in her tone, the casual dismissiveness, the lack of even basic gratitude, made my voice harder than I intended. Vanessa, I noticed you're planning an expensive vacation. She finally looked at me, one eyebrow raised. And we work hard, Dorothy. We deserve a break. You don't understand the stress Marcus is under. I paid your electric bill yesterday, and your phone bill, and your car insurance last week. Marcus stepped forward, his voice placing. Mom, we appreciate it, but we'll pay you back when?
When?
I interrupted. You've been saying that for 3 years, Marcus. Vanessa's expression turned cold. You know what, Dorothy? Maybe you should be more careful with your money instead of policing how we spend ours. You're not getting any younger. You should be economizing, saving for, well, end-of-life expenses, nursing homes, that kind of thing. The kitchen went silent except for the hum of their new stainless steel refrigerator.
Excuse me.
My voice came out quiet. Dangerous. Vanessa shrugged, unbothered. I'm just being practical. You're already old, Dorothy. You need to save money for yourself, not spend it on. She gestured vaguely. Whatever old people spend money on. Marcus said nothing. He just stood there looking at his phone. That's when I knew. They didn't see me as Marcus's mother, as someone who'd sacrificed everything for him. They saw me as an ATM, an old convenient ATM that would eventually break down. I left without another word, the HOA check still in my purse. That night, I couldn't sleep. Vanessa's words kept echoing. You're already old. The casual cruelty of it, the dismissiveness, as if my age made me worthless, disposable, just a source of money until I dried up. At 3 o'clock in the morning, I got up and went to my small home office. I pulled out every bank statement from the past 3 years, every canceled check, every credit card statement showing Venmo transfers and bill payments. I spread them across my desk under the lamp and began calculating. The numbers made me physically ill. Mortgage payments, $32,400. Car insurance, $4,680. Phone and internet, $7,920. Electric and gas, $11,340. Credit card minimums, $8,200. Random emergencies. Vanessa's dental work. Marcus's business expenses. Their refrigerator. Their fence. Their deck furniture. $18,750. $83,290 in 3 years. My hands shook as I double-checked the math. That was more than half my retirement savings. My pension was $2,400 monthly, comfortable for me alone. But after paying their bills, I had barely $800 left for my own groceries, medications, house maintenance, and utilities. I'd been eating generic brands and skipping my book club dinners to save money while they planned $9,000 vacations. The fear hit me then, cold and sharp. What if I got sick? What if my roof needed replacing, or my car died, or I needed care someday? I'd poured my safety net into their lifestyle, and they called me old and told me to economize. But beneath the fear, something else emerged. Something harder. Anger. I thought about my years working double shifts, about raising Marcus alone, about teaching him right from wrong. Where had I failed that he could stand there silently while his wife insulted his own mother? When had my generosity become their entitlement? By dawn, my fear had crystallized into resolution. I would not be their ATM anymore. But I had to be smart. Marcus and Vanessa had grown accustomed to my support. They'd structured their entire lifestyle around it. If I just suddenly stopped paying, they'd panic, pressure me, possibly guilt me back into compliance. I knew my son. He was weak-willed around Vanessa, and she was a master manipulator. I needed a plan, a real one. First step, information. I spent Wednesday morning on my computer researching. I read articles about financial elder abuse. Visited forums where other older adults shared stories eerily similar to mine. The patterns were identical. Adult children treating aging parents as piggy banks, using obligation and guilt as weapons. One article mentioned documenting everything evidence. I had 3 years of it sitting on my desk. I opened a new spreadsheet and logged every single payment, date, amount, category, what they claimed it was for. Then I cross-referenced with my own observations, the luxury items, the vacation plans, the expensive memberships. The spreadsheet became a stark portrait of exploitation. Second step, protection. I called my bank Thursday morning. I need to know about separating accounts, I told the representative, and possibly setting up alerts for any unusual activity. The representative, a kind-sounding woman named Jennifer, was helpful. Mrs. Hayes, do you have anyone else on your accounts? My son has been added as a secondary on my checking account for emergencies. I see. Are you concerned about unauthorized access?
Was I?
Could Marcus access my account without asking? The thought had never occurred to me before. I'd like to check the activity and possibly remove him. We can absolutely do that. Would you like to come in to discuss your options? I made an appointment for Friday afternoon. Third step, boundaries. I needed to establish them clearly and hold them even when Marcus and Vanessa pushed back. And they would push back hard. But what would that look like? Simply saying no wouldn't be enough. They'd wear me down with phone calls, surprise visits, emotional manipulation. Marcus would use his sad voice. Mom, I don't understand why you're being like this. Vanessa would alternate between fake sweetness and cold hostility. I needed something more definitive, something that would force them to face reality. As I sat at my desk Friday morning, staring at my spreadsheet of losses, an idea began forming. It was bold. It made my stomach flutter with nervousness, but it also felt right. What if I simply stopped? Stopped paying everything immediately. No warning, no explanation, no negotiation, just complete financial withdrawal. Let them experience the natural consequences of their own choices, their own bills, their own lifestyle, without my money propping it up. They'd be shocked, angry. They'd demand explanations. But here's what they wouldn't be able to do. They wouldn't be able to claim they didn't know this was coming, because I had Vanessa's own words recorded in my memory with perfect clarity. Save money for yourself. You're already old.
Fine.
I would take her advice. My hands were still shaking as I picked up my phone. But this time it wasn't from fear. It was anticipation. I had spent 3 years being used. Now I would spend the next few months watching them learn to stand on their own 2 feet or fall. That was their choice. I looked at the HOA check still sitting in my purse unmailed. That would be the first bill I didn't pay, and then there would be no more. Friday afternoon I sat across from Jennifer at First National Bank. She was younger than me, probably mid-40s, with kind eyes that had seen too many stories like mine. Mrs. Hayes, I've reviewed your accounts, she said carefully. Your son Marcus has had secondary access to your checking account for 4 years. He hasn't made withdrawals without permission, but he can see all your transactions and balances in real time. My stomach dropped. He can see everything every time I spend money? Yes, and he receives alerts when your balance drops below certain thresholds.
She paused.
Did you know he set those alerts? I hadn't, which meant Marcus knew exactly how much money I had at any given moment. He and Vanessa had complete visibility into my finances while planning their luxury vacations and golf memberships. I want him removed, I said. Today, Jennifer nodded. We can do that immediately. I also recommend opening a new checking account that only you can access. We'll transfer your pension deposits there. Your old account can remain open with minimal funds if you need it for any existing automatic payments. Within an hour, I had a new account. My name only, my money only. Jennifer also helped me set up alerts so I'd know immediately if anyone tried to access anything. One more thing, Jennifer said as we finished. Given the amounts you've documented here, she gestured to my spreadsheet. You might want to consult an attorney just to understand your options if things become complicated. Things were already complicated, but I took the business card she offered, elder law attorney specializing in family financial disputes. I drove home feeling lighter than I had in years. The first domino had fallen. Marcus called that evening. Hey, Mom. I tried to check your account to see if your pension came in yet, and it says I don't have access anymore. Is your banking app glitching? So, he'd already tried to check my balance. Interesting. No glitch, I said calmly. I removed your access. I'm managing my own accounts now. Silence. Then, why would you do that? I thought we had an arrangement where I could help monitor things for you. I don't need monitoring, Marcus. I need privacy. Mom, this seems really sudden. Is everything okay? Are you feeling confused? Sometimes older people. I'm 62, not 92, and my mind is perfectly clear. I kept my voice steady. I'm simply managing my own finances. More silence. I could hear Vanessa in the background asking what was wrong. Marcus's muffled voice. She locked me out of her account. Vanessa's voice grew louder.
What?
Let me talk to her. Mom. Vanessa wants to tell Vanessa. I'll speak with her another time. Good night, Marcus. I hung up. My heart was pounding. But I'd done it. Set the first real boundary. The text started within minutes. Marcus, Mom, we need to talk about this. Can I come over tomorrow? Vanessa. Dorothy, this is very concerning behavior.
We're worried about you.
I didn't respond to either. Instead, I poured myself tea and sat on my back porch watching the sunset. Saturday morning, I drove to the address on Jennifer's business card. David Rodriguez, attorney at law, had agreed to see me despite the weekend. His office was modest but professional, filled with law books and family photos. Mrs. Hayes, tell me everything, he said after we'd settled into his conference room. I did. I showed him my spreadsheet, explained the 3 years of payments, the luxury purchases, Vanessa's comments about my age, Marcus's passive enabling. Mr. Rodriguez took notes, his expression neutral but attentive. Have they ever forced you to pay? He asked. Threatened you? Coerced you? No, but they've created an expectation, and when I hesitate, they use guilt. Marcus reminds me he's my only child. Vanessa implies I'm selfish for having money while they struggle, even though they don't actually struggle. This is a common pattern, Mr. Rodriguez said. Financial exploitation doesn't always look like theft. Sometimes it looks like family obligation weaponized. He leaned forward. Here's what you need to know. You have no legal obligation to support adult children. None. Every dollar you've given them was a gift. Not a loan. Unless you have written agreements stating otherwise. I don't. Then you owe them nothing legally, morally, ethically, nothing. If they've built their lifestyle expecting your financial support, that's their miscalculation, not your responsibility. His words settled into my chest like stones. Heavy but solid grounding. What should I expect when I stop paying? I asked. Pushback. Significant pushback. They'll try multiple strategies. Guilt, anger, fake emergencies, maybe even threats to cut off your access to grandchildren if you have any. 2 grandchildren. Lily is 5. Grace is 3. They'll likely use that leverage. If you don't help us, you can't see the girls. It's manipulative but common, he paused. Are you prepared for that possibility? The thought of losing Lily and Grace hurt, but I thought of Vanessa calling me old, of Marcus's silence, of $83,000 vanished into their entitled lifestyle. Yes, I said. I'm prepared. Mr. Rodriguez nodded approvingly. Then document everything going forward. Save all texts, emails, voicemails. If they threaten you or make demands, record it. This evidence may become important. I left his office with a folder of information and a strange sense of calm. The second domino had fallen. Sunday, their HOA bill went unpaid. Their phone bill, too. I received 3 texts from Vanessa about both. I responded to neither. Monday morning, Marcus showed up at my door. Marcus stood on my porch looking like he hadn't slept. Mom, we need to talk. Can I come in? I opened the door, but didn't step aside. We can talk here. Our phone got shut off this morning, and the HOA sent a penalty notice. You didn't pay them. No, I didn't. His face flushed. Why not? We're counting on you. You always pay by the Marcus. I'm not paying your bills anymore. Any of them. The words hung in the spring air between us. A neighbor walking her dog glanced over curiously. What? His voice cracked. What do you mean you're not paying? Mom, you can't just we have obligations. We have the girls to think about. You have obligations. I corrected quietly. Not me. You and Vanessa are adults with jobs. Your bills are your responsibility. But we can't afford. He stopped, seeming to realize what he was admitting. Mom, we've structured our budget around your help. You're part of our financial plan. I never agreed to be part of your financial plan. You took my help for granted and built a lifestyle you couldn't afford. His expression shifted from confused to desperate. Is this about what Vanessa said? Because she didn't mean it the way it sounded. She was just trying to. She called me old and told me to save my money instead of spending it on you. So, I'm taking her advice. Marcus's jaw clenched. He pulled out his phone, typed something. Within seconds, my phone buzzed. Vanessa calling. I declined it. Mom, you're being unreasonable. Marcus said, we're family. Family helps each other. You're right. Family does help each other. But for 3 years, the help has only flowed one direction. You've taken $83,000 from me while buying new cars, joining country clubs, and planning tropical vacations. His face went white. You've been tracking it every dollar. He stepped back as if I'd slapped him. That's really manipulative, Mom.
Keeping score like that.
We're not a business transaction. You're right. Businesses require payment. I gave you gifts that you treated as entitlements. My phone rang again. Vanessa. Again, I declined. Don't ignore her, Marcus said, his voice taking on an edge I'd never heard before. She's trying to talk to you. I have nothing to say to her right now. Fine, then I'll say it. He moved closer, and I saw something in his eyes that scared me. A hardness that reminded me of his father before we divorced. If you cut us off financially, you cut yourself off from Lily and Grace. Is that what you want? To lose your grandchildren over money? There it was, the threat Mr. Rodriguez had predicted. My heart hammered, but I kept my voice steady. Are you telling me that my access to my granddaughters is conditional on me paying your bills? I'm telling you that if you can't support your family, you're showing us what matters to you, and we'll have to reconsider our relationship. Marcus, listen to yourself. You're threatening to weaponize my grandchildren because I won't pay your HOA fee. It's not about the HOA fee. His voice rose. It's about you suddenly turning your back on us. We've been there for you, visiting you, including you in the girls' lives, and this is how you repay us. You've been there for me? I felt my own anger rising. When, Marcus? When have you been there for me? You show up for Sunday dinners that I cook. You bring the girls over when you need free babysitting. You call when you need money, but when have you asked how I'm doing? When have you offered to help with my yard work or my leaking roof or anything that benefits me? He had no answer. This conversation is over, I said. I'm going inside.
Mom, wait.
I closed the door, locked it, leaned against it, my whole body shaking. Through the door, I heard him. Fine. Don't come crying to us when you're old and alone and need help. His footsteps receded. His car started, drove away. I slid down to the floor and cried, not from regret, but from the sheer stress of standing my ground against my own child. The text started immediately. Vanessa, you've shown your true colors, Dorothy. We will remember this. Vanessa. Marcus is devastated. His own mother chose money over her family. Vanessa, the girls were asking about Grandma. I told them, you're too busy for them now. I hope you're happy. Each message was a knife, precisely aimed. I saved every single one as Mr. Rodriguez had instructed, then silenced my phone. The next 3 days were brutal. They called 17 times, sent 34 texts, left voicemails ranging from tearful guilt trips to cold threats. I responded to none of it. Thursday, their electric bill would have been due. I didn't pay it. Friday, their car insurance. Saturday, their credit card minimum. I paid nothing. My resolve wavered constantly. Every photo of Lily and Grace on my refrigerator felt like an accusation. What kind of grandmother chose principles over her grandchildren? But then I'd remember I wasn't choosing anything over Lily and Grace. Marcus and Vanessa were the ones making that choice. By Sunday, I was exhausted, emotionally hollowed out. I'd stood firm, but it had cost me. I made myself tea, ran a bath, and spent the day reading in my garden. No phone, no news, just sunshine and silence, and the determined effort to rest. I needed to recover my strength because I knew this wasn't over. Monday morning, I woke to a strange sound outside my window. A car engine, not leaving, idling. I peeked through my bedroom curtains. Vanessa's white SUV sat in my driveway, but she wasn't in it. Where? The doorbell rang. My stomach tightened, but I dressed calmly, took my time. By the fourth doorbell ring, followed by persistent knocking, I made my way downstairs. Through the peephole, I saw Vanessa alone holding a bakery box and wearing what I called her charity function smile, the one that never reached her eyes. I opened the door, but kept the security chain latched. Yes, Dorothy. Good morning. Her voice was bright, artificial. I brought your favorite croissants from Pascal's. Can I come in? I thought we could talk. We can talk through the door. Don't be silly. I came all this way. I'm trying to make peace here. Set the box on the porch table. Thank you for the gesture. She stared at me for a long moment, then carefully placed the bakery box down. When she straightened, the smile was gone. Marcus is miserable. Dorothy, absolutely miserable. He can barely work. He's not sleeping. His own mother has abandoned him. I haven't abandoned anyone. I've simply stopped paying your bills. It's not about the money. It's entirely about the money, Vanessa. If it wasn't, you wouldn't be here trying to manipulate me into resuming payments. Her jaw clenched. You're being incredibly selfish. We have children to raise, expenses, responsibilities. Marcus has always been there for you, and this is how you treat him. Marcus has always been there for my checkbook. I corrected. There's a difference. She shifted tactics, her voice softening. Look, I know I said some things last week. I was stressed. I didn't mean them the way they sounded. Can we move past this for the girls' sake? How are Lily and Grace? Missing their grandmother. She paused meaningfully. Lily keeps asking when you're coming to visit. What am I supposed to tell her? Tell her the truth that Grandma is always happy to see them, but Mommy and Daddy are using them as bargaining chips. Vanessa's mask slipped. We are not. She took a breath, forcing the smile back. Dorothy, I'm trying to extend an olive branch here, but you're being impossible. Maybe Marcus was right. Maybe you are getting confused in your old age. There it is again. My old age. Tell me, Vanessa, if I'm so old and confused, why do you trust me to fund your lifestyle? She had no answer for that. I think we're done here, I said. Don't use the girls as weapons. It won't work, and it only hurts them. I closed the door on her shocked face, watched through the peephole as she stood there for several seconds, visibly seething before stalking back to her SUV. The croissants remained on my porch table. I left them there for the birds. That afternoon, I went to my book club meeting for the first time in 2 months. I'd been skipping it to save money. $15 for lunch at the cafe seemed like too much when I was paying Marcus and Vanessa's bills. My friend Catherine, different from Bank Jennifer, noticed immediately. Dorothy, we've missed you. Are you okay? I hesitated, then decided. These women had been my friends for 8 years. They'd earned honesty. Over coffee and sandwiches, I told them everything. The 3 years of payments, the $83,000, Vanessa's "you're already old" comment, Marcus's thread about the grandchildren, their attempts at manipulation. The table went silent. Then Catherine said quietly, "My daughter did the same thing to me for 5 years." Helen nodded. My son and his wife. They drained my savings before I finally stopped. One by one, 4 of the 7 women shared similar stories. Financial exploitation disguised as family obligation. Adult children treating aging parents as ATMs. The guilt, the manipulation, the threats. What did you do? I asked them. Catherine smiled. I moved to a condo in Arizona where they couldn't just drop by. Best decision I ever made. Helen said, I told my son he had 6 months to become financially independent. After that, nothing. He was furious, but he figured it out. Now our relationship is actually better because it's not transactional. Barbara, who'd been quiet, spoke up. My daughter stopped speaking to me for 18 months when I cut her off. It was the hardest thing I've ever endured. But she finally realized she couldn't manipulate me, and we rebuilt on healthier terms. I felt tears prickling. You don't think I'm being cruel? Selfish? Cruel? Catherine laughed. Dorothy, you gave them $83,000. There's nothing cruel about saying enough. You're teaching them accountability. It's the most loving thing you could do, even if they can't see it yet. These women understood. They'd lived it. Their validation settled into my bones, reinforcing my resolve. What if they never speak to me again? I whispered. Helen reached across the table, squeezed my hand. Then they've shown you who they really are. And painful as it is, you're better off knowing. I left the cafe feeling stronger than I had in days. I wasn't alone. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't cruel. For the next week, I maintained my cold, calm silence. Marcus and Vanessa's texts continued, but grew less frequent. I responded to none of them. They were regrouping, watching, trying to figure out my weakness. But I didn't have one anymore. Not one they could exploit. I spent my days gardening, reading, reconnecting with friends I'd neglected. I went to a matinee movie alone and loved it. Bought myself a new cardigan, a beautiful soft blue one, without guilt. My money, my choices, my life. The calm felt like armor. 2 weeks after Vanessa's croissant ambush, they came together. Saturday morning, both Marcus and Vanessa showed up at my door unannounced. Through the window, I saw Lily and Grace in their car seats. They'd brought the girls as leverage. I opened the door but stood in the doorway blocking entry. Yes, Mom. Marcus's voice was gentle, rehearsed. We need to talk. Really talk.
Can we come in?
The girls are in the car. We thought maybe you could see them while we chat. Bring the girls inside. You two can wait on the porch.
Mom, come on.
Don't be like this. Those are my terms. They exchanged a look. Vanessa's jaw was tight, but she nodded. Marcus went to get the girls. Lily came running up the walk.
Grandma.
She hugged my legs. 5 years old. Gap-toothed smile. Marcus's eyes. Behind her, Vanessa carried 3-year-old Grace, who reached for me. Hi, sweet girls, I said, my heart aching. Come in. I have cookies. We need to talk to Grandma first, Vanessa said, her voice sugar-sweet. Why don't you girls wait right here in the entryway? Grandma will be back in just a minute. She was trying to control the situation. I'd agreed to see the girls, so now she'd use that to force a conversation on her terms. Actually, girls, go to the kitchen. The cookies are on the counter. I'll be right there. I pointed them down the hall, waited until they were out of earshot, then turned to Marcus and Vanessa. Say what you came to say. They stepped onto my porch. Marcus closed the door behind him for privacy. Mom, this has gone on long enough, Marcus began. We've tried to give you space, but we're family. We need to resolve this. There's nothing to resolve. I'm not paying your bills. That's resolved. Vanessa stepped forward, her expression earnest, the mask of concerned daughter-in-law.
Dorothy, we're worried about you.
This sudden change in behavior, the paranoia about money cutting us off without explanation, these can be signs of cognitive decline. The suggestion hung in the air like poison. I don't have cognitive decline, I said flatly. I have clarity.
Do you?
Vanessa tilted her head, sympathetically. Because from our perspective, you're throwing away family relationships over minor financial disagreements. That's not rational, and we think you might need help. Help. I repeated the word, understanding where this was going. What kind of help? Marcus shifted uncomfortably. Maybe talking to someone, a doctor or a counselor, someone who can evaluate whether I'm competent to manage my own money. Silence. That's what this is, I said quietly. You're suggesting I'm mentally incompetent because I won't fund your lifestyle anymore. We're not saying that, Marcus protested, but his eyes wouldn't meet mine. Vanessa had no such hesitation. We're saying that sudden irrational financial decisions and paranoid behavior toward family members can indicate problems. And if you're not capable of managing your affairs responsibly, then what? You'll seek power of attorney, guardianship if necessary for your own protection, Vanessa said smoothly. We only want what's best for you. The threat was clear. If I didn't resume paying, they'd try to have me declared incompetent. They'd try to take control of my money legally. I felt fear spike through me, but underneath it cold fury. Get off my porch, I said quietly. Mom, get off my porch, both of you. You're being completely unreasonable. Vanessa's mask cracked. We've bent over backwards to maintain a relationship with you. We've brought the girls here as an olive branch, and you're throwing it back in our faces. You brought the girls as blackmail. You're using your children as weapons. We're trying to preserve this family. Vanessa's voice rose. But you're so stubborn and selfish that you'd rather hoard your money than help your own son. I gave you $83,000 over 3 years. How much more do you want? As much as it takes. The words burst out of Vanessa before she could stop them. Her face flushed. You have more than you need. You live in this house alone. You don't travel. You don't do anything. Why shouldn't you help us? We have real expenses, real needs. So do I, and they're mine to spend on. You're a bitter, selfish old woman. Vanessa hissed. Marcus, get the girls. We're leaving. Marcus hesitated, looking between us. Mom, Please just think about what we've said about getting evaluated. If there's nothing wrong, then you'll be fine. But if there is something, there's nothing wrong except that I finally set boundaries and you can't manipulate me into removing them. Inside, I heard Lily's voice. Mommy, can we stay? I want to show Grandma my new doll. No, sweetie. We're leaving. Grandma isn't feeling well. They collected the girls and left. Lily waved sadly from her car seat. Grace didn't understand why they were leaving so quickly. As their SUV pulled away, I stood on my porch, shaking. They'd threatened me with a competency evaluation. If they pursued it, even if I passed, it would mean doctors, lawyers, courts, public humiliation. The implication that I couldn't manage my own life, the fear of it wrapped around my chest like a vice. But then I thought about Mr. Rodriguez, about my bank statements, about Catherine and Helen and Barbara from book club. I had documentation. I had witnesses. I had 3 years of evidence showing exactly how competent I'd been, competent enough to bankroll their entire lifestyle. The fear began to transform into something sharper. Determination. If they wanted to fight, they'd get one, but they wouldn't win. 3 days later, I received a formal letter via certified mail. It was from an attorney, not Mr. Rodriguez, but someone representing Marcus and Vanessa. The letter requested that I undergo a cognitive assessment due to concerns about mental competency and financial decision-making raised by family members. It stopped just short of threatening guardianship proceedings, but the implication was clear. I called Mr. Rodriguez immediately. Mrs. Hayes, this is a scare tactic, he said after reading the letter. They're hoping you'll panic and resume payments to make this go away. But if they actually pursue this, they'll need substantial evidence of incompetency. From what you've shown me, they have none. What should I do? Call their bluff. Better yet, let's preempt this entirely. He paused. I think it's time we brought this into the light. Do you have other family members, people who've witnessed your relationship with Marcus and Vanessa? I thought of my younger sister Rachel in Michigan, of Marcus's godparents Robert and Susan, of my cousin Angela, who lived 20 minutes away. People who'd known me and Marcus for decades. Yes, I said. Good, because I have an idea. 1 week later, I hosted Thanksgiving dinner. It wasn't Thanksgiving. It was mid-May, but I called it a family gathering and invited everyone. My sister Rachel flew in. Robert and Susan came, Angela and her husband Michael. Even my elderly neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, who'd known Marcus since he was 7. And I invited Marcus, Vanessa, and the girls. The email invitation was simple. Family dinner, Saturday at 5 p.m. We need to clear the air. Please come. I knew they'd come. They couldn't resist the opportunity to pressure me in front of family, to paint themselves as the concerned children and me as the difficult, possibly incompetent mother. Saturday afternoon, I set my dining room table for 12. Mr. Rodriguez, my attorney, arrived early at my request, dressed casually as if he were simply another guest. He sat in my living room with a small recording device, legal in our state, with one-party consent, discreetly placed. Rachel helped me in the kitchen. Dorothy, are you sure about this? I'm sure. Guests arrived. Robert and Susan brought wine. Angela brought a pie. Mrs. Patterson brought stories about neighborhood gossip. The house filled with warmth and conversation. Marcus and Vanessa arrived last with the girls. Lily and Grace ran to hug me. Vanessa's eyes scanned the room, clearly surprised by the full house. Mom, you didn't mention this was a big thing, Marcus said. It's family, I replied. That's all. During dinner, conversation flowed easily. I'd seated Marcus and Vanessa in the middle of the table, surrounded by family on all sides. As we finished the main course, I stood. I want to thank everyone for coming, I said. I gathered you all here because I need witnesses to something important. I looked directly at Marcus and Vanessa. Marcus, Vanessa, you've threatened to have me declared mentally incompetent because I stopped paying your bills. I want everyone here to understand what's been happening. The table went silent. Vanessa's face flushed. Dorothy, this isn't appropriate. You made it appropriate when you sent this. I placed the attorney's letter on the table. You're claiming I'm not competent to manage my finances. I pulled out my folder. Here's 3 years of documentation showing I've given you $83,290. While paying these bills, I also maintained my own household, managed my health care, handled all my own affairs competently. Marcus stood. Mom, don't do this. Not here. Sit down, Marcus. My voice was still. You brought this fight to me. Now we're having it publicly. Rachel spoke up. $83,000. Marcus, is that true? It's not that simple, Vanessa said quickly. Dorothy offered to help us. We had an understanding. We had no understanding. I interrupted. You requested. I gave. You demanded more. You built your entire lifestyle on my retirement savings while planning vacations and joining country clubs. Robert's eyes widened. Son, you joined Riverside Country Club. That's $15,000 just to join. We have expenses, Marcus said defensively. We have a family to support. So support them, Angela said bluntly. You both work. What do you need Dorothy's money for? Vanessa's mask was cracking. This is a private family matter. You all don't understand the full situation. Then explain it, I said. Explain why 2 working adults with a combined income over $120,000 need their retired mother to pay their basic bills. Silence. Explain why you called me old and told me to save my own money, then got angry when I did exactly that. Vanessa's face went scarlet. That's not what you told me. I was already old and should economize for end-of-life expenses instead of spending money on you. Those were your exact words. Marcus's godfather Robert said quietly. Vanessa, please tell me Dorothy is exaggerating. She's taking it out of context. Vanessa's voice rose. I was trying to help her see that I'm old and should fund your lifestyle until I die. That's not what I said, but it's what you meant. The room was watching them now. Really watching, seeing what I'd seen for months. The entitlement, the manipulation, the barely concealed contempt. Vanessa stood abruptly. We don't have to listen to this. Come on, Marcus. Girls, we're leaving. No, Marcus said quietly. Everyone looked at him. No, he repeated, still sitting. Vanessa, we do need to listen. Vanessa stared at Marcus like he'd betrayed her. Excuse me. Mom's right. Marcus's voice was barely above a whisper. I've been using her for years. Marcus, don't know Vanessa. She's right. He looked at me, and I saw my son, my actual son, for the first time in years. Mom, I'm so sorry. I let Vanessa convince me that because you had money, you should share it. That it was selfish for you to have savings while we struggled, but we weren't struggling. We were just living beyond our means. Marcus, shut up, Vanessa hissed.
Right now.
We bought a house we couldn't afford, Marcus continued, ignoring her. We financed furniture, cars, vacations, all assuming you'd cover our shortfalls. And when you finally said no, instead of facing our own irresponsibility, I let Vanessa talk me into threatening you into using Lily and Grace as leverage. His voice broke. I threatened to keep your grandchildren from you because you wouldn't pay our HOA fee. What kind of person does that? Tears were running down his face now. The kind who forgot what his mother taught him, I said quietly. But maybe not permanently. Vanessa grabbed her purse. Fine. You want to grovel to her, Marcus? You do that. I'm taking the girls and leaving. No, you're not. Marcus's voice was firmer. We came together. We're leaving together. But first, Mom deserves a real apology from both of us. I'm not apologizing for wanting financial security for my family. You wanted luxury, Robert said bluntly. On someone else's dime. That's not security. That's exploitation. Vanessa looked around the table, seeing no allies. Her perfect mask was shattered, revealing the calculating, entitled person underneath. You're all judging me. None of you understand what it's like to have responsibilities. Rachel interjected. Vanessa, I raised 3 kids on a teacher's salary after my divorce. I didn't have a mother-in-law to bankroll me. You managed to spend $83,000 of someone else's money while claiming hardship. That's not admirable. Riverside Country Club while your mother skipped book club lunches to save $15, Mrs. Patterson added, shaking her head. Shameful. Vanessa's face contorted with rage and humiliation.
Fine.
You all want to attack me? I'm done. Marcus, I'm taking the girls to my mother's. You can figure out your own ride home. She stormed toward the living room where Lily and Grace were watching TV. Vanessa, wait. Marcus started to follow. Mr. Rodriguez stood, revealing himself. Before you go, Mrs. Hayes has asked me to witness something.
He looked at me.
I pulled out one more document. This is a formal notice drafted by my attorney. Marcus, Vanessa, as of today, you're financially independent. I will provide nothing further except birthday and Christmas gifts for Lily and Grace given directly to them. Any future requests for money will be documented and potentially used as evidence of financial harassment. You can't do this, Vanessa said, though her voice wavered. I already have, and if you pursue the competency evaluation you threatened, I'll counterclaim for elder financial exploitation. Mr. Rodriguez has all the documentation, 3 years of evidence. Vanessa looked at the attorney, then at the faces around the table, all united against her. The reality of her complete defeat settled over her features. You'll regret this, she said. But the threat was hollow. The only thing I regret is not doing it sooner. Vanessa left, dragging the girls with her. Lily was crying, confused. Grace reached for me as they went out the door. Marcus remained, standing awkwardly in my dining room. Marcus, I said, you have a choice. You can leave with her, continue down this path, and lose your relationship with me permanently, or you can stay, work on yourself, fix your finances, and rebuild what we had. But I will never again be your ATM. He was crying openly. Now, I don't know how to fix this. Start by standing on your own 2 feet. Get financial counseling. Stop living beyond your means. And decide if you're married to a partner or a handler. She's going to be so angry. Then that's something you'll have to navigate. But Marcus, you're 38 years old. You're not a victim in this. You participated. You benefited. And you threatened your own mother to maintain your lifestyle. Own that. Face it. Fix it. He nodded slowly. Can I still call you? Try to make this right. You can try, but I'm done being manipulated. If you want a real relationship, honest, reciprocal, respectful, I'm open to that. But anything else? We're done. He left shortly after, driving away alone. The remaining family sat in my dining room processing what they'd witnessed. Dorothy, Robert said finally.
You did the right thing.
That took courage. It took desperation, I corrected. But yes, it was right. We cleaned up together, the family that actually mattered.
Rachel stayed the week.
Mr. Rodriguez assured me that the documented confrontation witnessed by multiple people would be sufficient to counter any future competency claims. I'd won completely, without compromise. But victory felt less like triumph and more like relief, like finally putting down a weight I'd carried for years. That night, I slept better than I had in months. 6 months after that dinner, my life had transformed into something I barely recognized, something lighter, freer, entirely my own. I started traveling, not extravagantly but comfortably. I'd always wanted to see the Grand Canyon, so I went, joining a seniors tour group. In September, I took a train through New England to see the fall colors. In October, I visited Rachel in Michigan, and we spent a week laughing like we were teenagers again. My savings account was growing instead of shrinking. I could afford small luxuries without guilt. The good coffee, fresh flowers for my kitchen table, a new mattress that didn't hurt my back. I joined a watercolor painting class and discovered I had a small talent for landscapes. Book club became a weekly highlight again. Catherine, Helen, Barbara, and I grew closer, bonding over our shared experiences with difficult adult children. We called ourselves the Boundary Brigade and laughed about it over wine. The grandchildren's situation resolved unexpectedly. After about 2 months of silence, Marcus called me. Really called me not to ask for money, but to talk. I left Vanessa, he said quietly. We're getting divorced. How are you doing? Honestly terrified, but also relieved. Mom, I didn't realize how much she controlled everything. Our finances were a disaster. We were $40,000 in credit card debt on top of everything else. Oh, Marcus, I'm living in a studio apartment now, driving my old sedan. I sold my country club membership. I'm in credit counseling and therapy. We rebuilt carefully over time. He never asked for money. He brought groceries once and helped fix my fence without being asked. He apologized often, sometimes too often. You don't have to keep apologizing, I told him. Just keep being this version of yourself. The girls visited every other weekend. Marcus had joint custody, and he brought them to my house where we baked cookies and painted and played in the garden. Vanessa's life, meanwhile, unraveled spectacularly. Without my money and with Marcus gone, she couldn't maintain their house. She had to sell it at a loss. The new SUV repossessed when she fell behind on payments. She moved in with her mother, a bitter woman who delighted in saying, "I told you so." Vanessa had to get a full-time job in retail management, the kind of work she'd always called beneath her. Her social media presence, once filled with carefully curated photos of her perfect life, went dark. The friends who'd surrounded her during her affluent days disappeared when the money did. Marcus told me once that Vanessa had tried to reconcile with him. She said she'd changed, but Mom, it was all about what I could do for her. Could I help with her rent? It was the same pattern, just repackaged. He'd said no. I was proud of him for that. By Christmas, my life had a shape I loved. I hosted the holiday at my house. Just me, Marcus, the girls, Rachel, and a few friends from book club. We ate well, laughed often, and gave modest, heartfelt gifts. Lily gave me a drawing of the two of us in my garden. I cried when I opened it. That evening, after everyone left, I looked around my small house, truly mine now, filled with people I'd chosen rather than people who'd used me, and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Complete, uncomplicated peace. Marcus texted me before bed. "Thank you for not giving up on me, Mom. I didn't deserve your patience, but I'm grateful for it. Love you." I texted back, "Love you too. Proud of who you're becoming." And I meant it. So, here's my question for you. What would you have done when someone you love treats you like an ATM? When they call you old and tell you to economize while planning luxury vacations on your dime, where do you draw the line? I drew mine at $83,000 and 3 years of exploitation. Some people think I was cruel. Most think I waited too long. What do you think? Tell me in the comments. And if you've dealt with something similar, share your story. You're not alone. Subscribe for more stories about standing your ground and reclaiming your life. Because at 62 or any age, you're never too old to choose yourself. Thanks for listening to my story.
It wasn't easy to share.
But if it helps even one person set boundaries they've been afraid to set, it was worth it.